That's what I was doing. Okay, let's try ready.
Hey, welcome to an episode of Chad's Beer Podcast. Sorry, I can't come up with a more clever name than that. This week I'm talking to Mike and Sean from the Nerdsense channel. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having us again.
Yeah, we just reviewed Shime Red. By the way, is it pronounced? I've always pronounced it Shime.
I was just going to ask you the same thing. I say Shime too. Is it?
Well, if you watch like videos like from there, they always pronounce it Shime.
Oh.
If I learn better, I will correct myself.
Have either of you guys ever been to Belgium? Maybe
I have. I went on my honeymoon. We did.
Really?
We did half the honeymoon in Belgium and then half the honeymoon in Santorini. So it was like beer and food, and then just nothing but relaxation. It was Belgium was awesome. We went to Cantillon, which was just next level bucket list type stuff. All the beers were amazing. Like there was this beer bar right underneath the hotel that just had the beer list was like this big. It was just
like
massive.
A
and and they had to and they'd serve them in the proper glassware. And if you don't have the proper glassware, they make you wait. It's pretty
we gotta run the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. Like, how did your channel come about? Like, or actually, we go even further back. Like, how did you guys meet?
Oh, that's a good question, Mike. I'm gonna let you start with how we met, and then I can talk about how Nerdsense came about. Because you remember the how we met story more than I do.
We met the first day of high school in gym class in ninth grade. Yeah,
in locker room.
Literally sitting on the bleachers next to the pool
because we didn't want to swim.
Oh yeah, you should tell the viewers where you're from.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. I'm from Well, actually, we're both from Massachusetts. I'm still living in Massachusetts. Mike's in New Hampshire now.
Yeah, I'm from upstate New York, Schenectady. So we're like,
oh, okay, cool.
We're pretty similar areas. Well, once I moved down south, people always thought New York was part of New England. Like, oh, you're from one of those New England states. I'm like, technically mid-Atlantic. Like New England is everything east of New York.
You just escaped the snow.
So how did the Nerdsense channel come about? Because it looks like you started a long time ago, like 9 or 10 years ago.
So yeah, Nerdsense itself came about before that. So Nerdsense, if you're sharing, you could go to nerdsense.net.
And hit oldest, and the oldest one is from 9 years ago.
Yeah, that was before we started doing videos. So originally, I just started a blog. A beer blog, because my wife bought me a Christmas beer pack, like a Christmas a monthly beer box. So what I would do is I'd get the box and then I would review the beers like blog format. Like I'd type out my reviews, and then that sort of stopped because the beer box was only for like 6 months or whatnot, right? And then that kind of sat dormant for a while, and then my wife got pregnant. Yep, and my wife got pregnant, and I think I was looking for an outlet, and Mike and I were listening to Kevin Smith's podcast a lot back in the day. So we were like, hey, why don't we start a podcast? So we started a podcast, and we're like, what do we call it? And first was like, we had really, really stupid names. I don't even remember some of the names. But then one day I was like, wait, I have this domain. I have this domain called nerdsense.net. I'm like, well, he's like, fuck it. Let's just do nerd. Sorry. Can we swear on here?
Sure.
and I was like,
racial
that won't be a problem.
Jesus Christ. And I was like, he's like, yeah, let's do it. Nerdsense. And I was like, cool. So we started doing just long format podcasts. We're talking about movies, comics, TV shows, but the sort of constant was we'd always talk about the beer we were drinking, and we'd always just, am I misremembering? You look like you're.
No, I think you're right, but I feel like one of the issues we had was like we got very little interaction with people, but all the interaction was about the beer.
Yeah, everyone.
It seemed like they seemed to be more concerned about the beer, and for me, like what the outlet kind of was I knew Sean was about to have a kid, and I felt like this would be designated hangout time. Some people have kids and you never see them again. And that's kind of from my memory. That's how it kind of started.
Same.
But it did seem like the beer was the most fun part of the whole thing. I mean, I like to talk about movies, I like to talk about music and all those things. Everything's fine. But the beer was sort of like the one thing where, like, I felt like I guess I was not that aware of the whole beer tube thing, but I felt like that's where we were sort of more original. I thought that like not that we were original in doing the beer tube, but I thought like we had a unique perspective, and I just liked it was the stuff I sort of enjoyed doing the most on, even when we did the audio, and we occasionally did video stuff for like holidays, like for like the gift swapping and stuff, and eventually Sean and I kind of decided let's just do short form content and do like the videos. We can do a few of them, you know. It was fun.
Yeah. And it took off and we kept doing the podcast for a little bit in tandem. And then for me, I was like, at this point, like it was just editing was just becoming like, it was like a second job that I wasn't getting paid for. So I was like, let's just stick with the beer reviews for now. And then we would occasionally do podcasts for like bigger tentpole movies. And if we wanted to like have some type of long form conversation, like archived on the internet forever. And but the big thing, like Mike said, it was designated hangout time. Like our wives, it's been 10 years now. They don't question Friday nights like at all. Like if we have plans Friday, like Mike used to live a lot closer. He's now 30 minutes ish. So like we do more remote stuff. But before, like every Friday night, Mike would be here. Carrie and Chan, our wives, never question it. They or if something did come up, they would know to ask. So they're very respectful of it, which was given that I just had especially like right when my daughter was born, like she was still super cool with, you know, this happening. And to this day, if Friday comes around and they know we're either going to record, but we're doing it less and less lately. Like now we're more pivoting the schedule, like to like work around certain stuff. And so we're not cemented to Fridays anymore, but it really is like it is. It's 100% designated hangout time. And it's been awesome.
Who came up with the name Nerdsense?
That was me. Like that was more than probably 15 years ago. There was a friend of mine that I used to work with had a cybersecurity blog, and he called it. It was something to do with some like uncommon sense, something like that. And I was like, that's a good idea. And I was like, because like this common sense, and I was like, well, Nerdsense, like I'm a giant nerd, like Nerdsense kind of rings the bell, and like the domain was cheap enough, and so I was like, I think it works, and then we just but then I put beer on it, and like which didn't really make sense, right? When you think of that, but then we kind of obviously we have all this nerdy stuff that kind of flows through.
Did you draw that logo with the can and the cape, or did you have an artist do that?
So the original was Mike. And then
I did it with paint. It was really bad, but I did it like we were gonna start in like 10 minutes, and I just quickly did something. I was like, we should do something like this, and that was the end of that.
So the original. So then if you look at the other one that looks much more kind of like streamlined and whatnot, for my first wedding anniversary, my wife had a poster made, and it's me, her, and my daughter all with like lightsabers and stuff like that. And she said there's a tagline on it, but then she asked him to put the logo there, but he didn't. He took the logo and made it
awesome
10 times better. And I was like, Carrie, this is amazing, and I appreciate everything you did in this poster, but is there any way you can email that guy and get me a digital copy of just the logo? And because like before that, we actually paid somebody on Fiverr to make another logo. Like if you ever see another logo of ours, it's like two beer steins clinking, and it says Nerdsense. But then like once we got that, Mike and I were both like, holy crap! Like,
Well, we paid someone on Fiverr to give us ideas to work around a logo that we already had, and it was everything he did, or he or she, I don't know who it was. It was really bad. But the one that of the two steins we liked, so we kept using that for a little while. But that fixed can and cape thing was so much better than
like
so
my original logo. Like that was like a fan made one. Somebody who was like a fan of the show was a graphic artist made like those two. And then the newer ones with the white shirt, which actually I'm wearing right now.
Oh, nice.
Like I got somebody on Fiverr made that one for me because I like that kind of cartoon look.
Yeah.
And this is from last year when I was shaving my head. I might do that again in the winter. My girlfriend doesn't really like it when I shave my head, but it's like so much easier, especially like when you don't have like a real hairline, you know? Like
that's it. That's what I did.
Yeah, you ever watch Impractical Jokers?
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like Murray, like he has like his hair is like even worse than mine. It's like, dude, just shave your head, or like you have to go in one direction or the other. Just shave it all off, or like get plugs or some kind of implant or something, you know?
Yeah, I had a friend, like we were out, this was years ago, like before I shaved my head, and they were taking a picture of something, and like and it was, my back was turned, and I saw the picture after, I go, why has nobody been telling me this? Like, I just had this, like the horseshoe, and I could never see it. And I'm like, no one told me it was that bad. Like, I knew it was going, but I realized it was that bad. At that point, I was like, all right, I guess because I was already losing here. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna shave. And that's when I started shaving it.
I was at the barber when that happened to me. Cause I used to like put gel in my hair, like the Caesar look, and like comb it forward. I remember he was like, cause I just told him just, do the side. This is when I was in the Navy. So you have to have like a fade all the time. I remember like he took the mirror out from behind, where they show you the back of their head at your barber, and then like I saw the top and I see like this, and I'm just like, oh, when did that happen? So I'm like,
yeah,
I lost the genetic lottery on that one.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I never even like grew like a full beard until like last year. Just like screw it, because like there's like all these blank spots on my face and it doesn't come in like very full, but I'm just like, I'm just gonna, I don't care. Just let it go for like a year and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it looks good. I don't see any missing spots, and that's why I keep my beard around. Like, if I don't have hair on my head, I gotta have hair someplace.
I know it's funny, between the three of us, we have 3 different colored beards, because like you have orange and he has brown, black, whatever, and I have like a gray, whitish beard.
Oh, you can't see them, but there's definitely gray in here. My wife likes to point it out.
Mine is very quickly turning into not brown anymore.
Yeah. How old are you guys, if you don't mind me asking? Because I'm 40. I just turned 48 about 2 months ago.
I'm going to be 41 in December.
Okay.
I'm 40. I'll be 41 in April.
I know. It's like there aren't too many young people in this space. Because like I started BeerTube in 2008 and I was 32 at the time. And I just feel like BeerTube just kind of got older. Like you're wearing, I saw Sean, you're wearing Greg's beer reviews shirt.
Yes.
Like, is that the Greg with the huge beard?
It is. I bought that was, and that's actually kind of I started watching beer reviews before Mike, like when we were still doing the podcast, and that was sort of where no, I definitely watched them before you did, didn't I?
Sean, you can correct that sentence to say I watch beer reviews. End of story.
Oh, I don't do it anymore, but yeah, you know what I mean.
No,
yeah,
but I don't really watch a lot of BeerTube.
Yeah, no, but no, this is definitely Greg, and he was definitely one of the very first ones that probably him, Matt, and like Joe from Jow's Arcade. Yeah, those are the 3. Yeah.
You must have came in like right when Beer Geek Nation left. It seemed like he dipped out about 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was probably, because I remember he was big then too. But then he came back that one time a few years after with that like random mini fridge review, and then disappeared again.
It's
which
still
was
there.
Like, yeah, it's so strange. But yeah.
I've been trying to find him. I think he's on LinkedIn, and I don't know what happened, but he must have like hit a wall one day where it's just like, I don't want to do this anymore, which has happened to me. Like, I put out like content like every day, and like it gets like for like okay views, but not proportionally to like the number of followers that I have, and not proportionate to like how big, like I was getting like 10 years ago or even 12 years ago, getting more views than I am now. And I just feel like, I don't know what happened, but I feel like the whole craft beer online scene, it kind of like peaked probably about 5 or 10 years ago. Like, it's hard to like become like a real beer influencer these days unless you just buy followers. And so it's like, if you're going to be in this space, you got to do it for like the love of the game, like because it's funny. Sean and I were talking off camera before we started, like, how little money I make doing this. And like, you guys are at 812 subs. I think you need 1,000 to be monetized on YouTube. And, so it's like, what's your strategy towards like social media? Like, you just throw it up there and just, whatever traffic it gets, or do you try to like promote it or in any way, or how's that work?
We'll do, yeah. So we'll put the videos on YouTube, right? Obviously, because YouTube. But then I'll usually post. I used to be very, very diligent about it. Like then post an Instagram post with either a picture of the beer or a thumbnail of from the actual video. I don't do it as much just because I don't know. It feels like I just haven't had as much time. So I did it yesterday actually for the last video we did. But on Facebook we used to promote posts a couple. I think we did that a couple times. Like we actually paid to promote posts. But yeah, I don't know if we were never in it to be beer influencers. It really does go back to what Mike was saying. This was just designated hangout time that we always had like on the schedule, and it was just fun. And then meeting everybody that we've met, like now we're like lifelong friends with like Kyle, Matt, and stuff like that from those channels. Like they're more friends now than they are like peers. You know what I mean? Like, and that's really I think that's more, what am I trying to say?
Fulfilling.
It gives me more happiness.
Yep.
More fulfilling than the monetary value. So would it be cool if Mike and I could monetize and, you know, make the money back from the mics, the mixers?
Yeah.
Sure. Right. But like at the end of the day, like I just have fun doing this stuff, right? Like meeting new people like you, Chad, and just like talking and hanging out. Like I feel like if we ever did blow up, I don't know what I would do, because I'd have to put in more work editing, and I already have a full-time job. I have a family, right? Like this is my hobby. It keeps me sane. Like if I didn't get to do this, I think I would go crazy. Like this is just that thing that like is fulfilling, and
I forgot. I think it might have been John Heffernan, some comedian, was just kind of like, you have to give men a task. Like if we don't have something to do, like we get pretty bored. Like that's how I am. It's like even like I work like almost every day, because if I'm not working, I get pretty bored. It's like I'm either working or I'm doing this, which is kind of work, you know.
Oh yeah, I get it.
I just don't really get a paycheck from this.
No. We're gonna be in the red for a while.
So how did you guys get into beer? I don't know if you have the same story or a similar story.
I did not
Go
like
ahead,
beer. When I first started drinking when I was almost 20 years old. Most of my friends were very, very experienced by the time I started. But I would see them drink and I thought they all looked dumb. You guys are idiots. Why would I want to do that, you know? And then when I started drinking, because I couldn't not tolerate the taste. I remember even as a kid, my dad would give me sips of his like Budweiser or whatever, and I hated it. So I would just drink, you know, hard alcohol or mixed drinks or whatever, anything I could, you know. And on a friend of mine, he turned 21 a couple weeks after me. I wanted to buy him his first beer, so I did. And then he bought me a beer. I was like, fuck, to drink this fucking piss, you know. And but it like my experience of beer was Budweiser and Busch and Coors Light and you know, and fizzy. He comes, the fizzy white, pale yellow stuff. Which I have appreciation for everything now. It's not the same, but like, you know, I can drink something that's like, you know, Hawaiian punch and fucking rum, you know, that tasted good to me at the time, you know. But he comes back to me with a glass of Newcastle brown ale.
Oh, that was one of mine.
This was Andy, right?
Andy, yeah, it was Andy.
Yep.
And I was like, ah, shit, yeah, crap, whatever. It is what it is. And I took a sip. I was like, oh, I can deal with this. And then halfway through the glass, I was a fan, right? Like halfway through, I was like, I'm getting like 10 more of these. And it was really downhill very quickly. Within, at the time, the highest, I believe this is true, the highest rated beer at the time, this is a long time ago, on Beer Epic, it was Shakespeare Oatmeal Stout from Rogue.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to find this. And I found it. And that was like sort of like that start of like, I can find beer that is world class. I can find it. I can go through stores and try to locate it. So I was in on this like within a few weeks of turning 21. But before that, beer was like, ooh, I wouldn't drink it. You know,
you were drinking 151 for a good period of time.
Bacardi 151, yeah.
Wow. So Sean, what's your secret origin story?
I don't know if I think I started drinking like Sam Adams Like I think I branched out. The first thing I remember of Sam Adams, I may have had a Boston Lager before, but I was moving into an apartment in Boston with a couple friends, Mike's friends as well, and my dad got a case of Sam Adams Pale Ale. They don't even make it anymore. It was like a green label, and he didn't like craft beer at the time. He finally ended up coming around and loved Boston Lager, and he was like, "Do you want to?" And we weren't even, none of us were 21 yet, and it was just sitting in the basement doing nothing. And he's like, "Do you want to take this with you?" And I was like, "Can I?" And he goes, "Yeah, I guess." I don't even know how old it was. I remember we drank it, and it just tasted like really. It tasted like almost syrupy, like cloyingly, like hoppy, like hop oil. Because Mike, you definitely had some too.
Oh yeah,
and that wasn't necessary. I wouldn't say that was the genesis of it, because I was still a poor college student, so I was still buying whatever the cheapest stuff was.
Like beer balls. Remember, you guys get those big plastic beer balls?
Beer balls of Budweiser, yeah. But I think that sort of took, like, kind of started it, I think, because like from there it was a lot of Sam Adams Boston Lager. It was a lot of Newcastle for sure. Chimay was big, and then, you know what? I think I know. Like this is probably the turning point, at least for me. I was coming back from Germany on a work trip, and I had a layover in Belgium. And I'm sitting at a bar, and this bar had Left Brune and a hot dog for like whatever. I forget what the price was. It was cheap. Mm-hmm. And I had the Left Brune, and it broke my brain. Absolutely broke my brain. I was like, "What is this? This is amazing." I think the layover was like 2 hours like that. I just like crushed like a handful of them. And funny enough, the whole time on the TV, it was the day that Heath Ledger died. And I distinctly remember that. And they were talking about, because it was right after the Dark Knight and stuff like that, right? So I came home and I looked everywhere for the beer. Couldn't find it. We were at a place in Boston called Jacob Wirth. It was actually the first bar to ever serve Budweiser in America. And we used to go there every year for my birthday, but I don't think we were there for my birthday at the time, though. I think it was just Carrie and I. And we were you weren't there, right, Mike? This time? No. And we were walking out, and they had an awesome beer list. Like their beer list was always great.
It was awesome. I love that place.
It's supposed to reopen, but I guess there was something with coding or whatever now, and it's delayed again. But yeah, regardless, so we're leaving, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a Left tap, and I was like, I stopped, and I already told Carrie like the whole story, and I was like, "Carrie, that's the beer. That's the beer." She's like, "All right, I guess we're staying." And so so then I was really excited. I had that, and then that Christmas, actually, she ended up getting me. She ordered it from overseas, like a Left like mix pack, so it had like Left Christmas Ale and a bunch of other like special. So yeah, I would say it sort of all started from that pale ale, but then the real turning point that kind of like put the pedal to the metal was Left Brune, which is funny. I don't know if it was owned by InBev back then, but to me, like that, like Mike was saying in the Chimay review, like it was like a warm hug whenever I have like a Left Brune. And I know I don't care, but that, like if I see it, I buy it. I don't care if I'm giving money to InBev. Like it is like, that is like the warmest of warm hugs for me when it comes to beer.
Yeah, it's funny. My story is kind of similar to that, because I remember like when I was in the Navy, and like we were in New Jersey somewhere, and we're at like a college bar. In fact, I remember it's called the Mad Hatter, and we got, like, I'm always that kind of person that like doesn't really like the mainstream kind of thing. I always like to try like something nobody else is trying. Like when like there's a huge festival and like headliner is like Metallica, and then like in like tiny little like 8-point letter at the bottom is like all these bands you never heard of. Like I'm the one that's like, all right, I want to check out these bands I never heard of. Maybe they're good, because like sometimes you hear like the best stuff that way, but sometimes for some reason or for a good reason, a lot of times you didn't heard of them for a reason because they suck, But anyway, so like with me with beer, it was like the same thing. Like I never heard of Newcastle Brown Ale. I just remember like Mike said, like as soon as like it hit me, I'm like, oh wow, this is beer. It's actually sweet and tasty, and it was the first beer I ever did on this show. And I remember,
that's awesome.
Yeah, my first ever beer review was Newcastle Brown Ale when it was actually its own company, and then they got bought by Heineken, and actually now they make it in America. Lagunitas makes it, and it's definitely not as good as it used to be, at least as I remember. And I also remember like when I was in the Navy and I was in Virginia, and my brother were coming to visit, and I asked my brother, I'm like, what kind of beer do you like? He's like, can you get Magic Hat? And I'm like, all right, I'll check. So I went to the package store and they had a Magic Hat mix pack. And it had like, you know, like an IPA, pale ale, Hefeweizen, something else, lager or something. I don't know.
Did it have I imagine it had number 9 in it.
Oh yeah, that was probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't get Magic Hat in Florida, but yeah. So I just remember like the first time I ever having like an IPA, and, like smelling it, just smelled like grapefruit, and like tasting it, like because a lot of people like are really put off by IPA, but for me it was like the opposite. It was like, like, oh wow, this is awesome. And like if you watch like the early episodes of this show, like 90% of the reviews are just all IPA, and this is before hazy IPA. Yeah, so I just, you know, couldn't get enough IPA. But then eventually I just started, like I said, I just wanted to try everything else. And yeah, like all the Belgian beers, imperial stouts, like smoked beers, stuff like that. Like, and it's funny, are either of you guys BJCP certified?
No.
All right, well, I have the guidelines here, and if you actually print them out, it's a very long, I think there's like probably over 100 different styles. Like there's categories and there's styles within them. And
oh yeah. I've definitely gone through like the, you know, from like GABF, you get all the little sub styles and sub.
That's what I like about beer compared to wine, where it's like beer, there's like well over 100 styles, and like there's constantly evolving styles compared to like wine. It's like they're all standard styles, like there's no deviation, or like if you do something that's like different where they throw spices in or use like different fruits or whatever, like it all just gets lumped into like the other category, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about beer, is like it's constantly innovating and constantly evolving, you know.
Are you certified? Are you a certified judge?
Yeah, I don't know if you can
Cicerone?
see my BJCP and Cicerone right there.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I can't I can't see what.
I know it's hard to see, it's small writing, but
yeah,
that's
actually, awesome. Congratulations, that's cool.
Well, that's only Cicerone beer server. I'm not full on Cicerone. That's more like for people who work in the industry. There isn't a whole lot of reason for like a hobbyist to get it.
Yeah,
because like you actually have to like take like I guess you could call it like a lab practical, because like there's a written test and there's like a physical test where you have to like actually go and like hook a keg up or something, or disconnect a keg, or like something that like a bartender would do, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's like I'm not a
college student.
Or a college student. Yeah.
By the way, I'm drinking Runner's High. It's a non-alcoholic brand. I don't know if you guys ever seen or heard of this.
Are they local to you?
I think they're Colorado. The company sent me a bunch of their cans, but first of all, a lot of them arrived like damaged. Like you ever seen cans that are like all swole up?
Yeah.
You know, like somebody dropped it, but like it didn't actually open. And they also sent me old beer. Like this expired like last week. I was like, why would you send me old beer if you want me to review it? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
let's see. It says Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. Yeah. So actually, to me, the biggest and like most unexplainable craze in the beer world of like the last at least 10 years is the non-alcoholic craze. Because those used to be the butt of all jokes, like duels, you know. And it's just like, you know, like near beer was always like it's the worst of both worlds. Like it has like shitty taste, and at least you don't get the alcohol, so it's like, what's the point? And like now, non-alcoholic beer is basically just kind of like a better alternative to soda. That's like way less calories, way less sugar. So it's like if you're gonna sit on the couch all day and watch football or baseball or whatever, it's like you could drink just non-alcoholic beer and save on the calories if you were just drinking Coca-Cola or Pepsi, or actual, you know, full alcohol beer. And I mean, if you drink enough, you might get like a little bit of a buzz. But yeah. So what is you guys' take on the non-alcoholic beer craze?
I think it's definitely come a long way. 100%. Yeah. Like
I think Athletic makes really cool stuff that other people are making half decent beer.
like Sam Adams, Just the Haze. Like
Just the Haze is great.
Just the Haze is fantastic. There's so many different places popping up. Like there was Two Roots. They won it at GABF. That they made a German Helles that was my favorite, and then they went out of business, which stinks. But like like sometimes you could. It was Two Roots Brewing. Yeah, they were really good.
There's a lot of breweries that start with two.
Yeah, Two Roots. Yeah, I did a mystery beer review with Mike from FLX a couple of years ago, and both of us. It was an Italian Pilsner by Uncharted. Is it Uncharted? No, Untitled Arts. Either way.
No, Untitled Arts.
Who am I thinking?
Okay.
Who am I thinking of? What am I thinking of? Is that right?
Untitled Arts. They're the ones that do those really cool like dessert stouts and stuff.
Oh no! It was them. It was Italian and a non-alcoholic Italian Pilsner, and we could not tell. It was ridiculous.
No kidding. Yeah. Do you ever have the Guinness Zero?
Yeah, that one's shockingly good.
Yeah, it tastes like regular Guinness.
I mean, I don't know.
So they actually brew regular Guinness and then they remove it with science.
Well, you know what that silence is? They just boil it.
Yeah, it's gone. It's really good.
When I was probably 21 or 22, I think me and Sean and I think we were playing somewhere in Boston. We were doing something. We were going to play some songs somewhere.
Oh, you mean other friend Sean?
Oh yeah, sorry, different Sean. Yeah. And a bunch of like
SHAWN.
SEAN, yeah, close.
SEAN, yeah.
Either way, it's the wrong way.
But go ahead, a bunch of like scantily clad ladies ran into the bar. We were at like the Purple Shamrock in Boston, and 20 of them running in with like zero alcohol, like Heineken or something. And that was the first. I'd never ever had zero alcohol beer before that. It was something like that. It was some brewery, I don't remember now, 20 years ago, and it was like awful beyond words. It was so awful. So like the first time I had like a half decent non-alcoholic beer, because even we did one from Wine and Step on it. That was terrible. The first one I really liked was Just the Haze, and not that there weren't other good ones, but that opened the idea that I could have something that was decent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also nice, or it must be nice for you guys because you're in Massachusetts, so you're like right at ground zero for the hazy IPA, New England IPA craze. I remember, I don't know if you, well, yeah, you probably wouldn't have known this, but like back, like kind of in the early days of the show, I had a blog with the Albany Times-Union newspaper, writing like the beer column. It was like just online. It wasn't in the actual physical paper. And I like, that's like when Heady Topper like first blew up, like 2012, 13, around that area. And then I noticed like Otter Creek and Lawson's Finest Liquids and Night Shift.
I haven't heard them in a while. Yeah.
I don't think Treehouse like just started like around that time. And I just like, and Hill Farmstead, obviously.
Yep.
Which one's that?
We're both drinking Treehouse. The problem is I have a Treehouse that is literally 14 minutes from me now, and it's been a problem since they moved in.
I know you beating me to the punch here because I was going to say, like, how is it living in Massachusetts? Like, I mean, are you guys sick to death of hazies by now, or just the more the merrier?
I go to Treehouse and I buy Kolsch.
But you're about to open a pale ale right now. I saw it.
I am. Yeah, this is my next one. Yeah. This will be a pale. Yeah.
Mike and I definitely have. We both around the same time got sick of hazies. Like when the channel first started, we were doing like, if you go back, you can see like we were like, I think Matt made a joke once that like we were just like the night shift review channel because we were just doing night shift so much. But we were doing a lot of hazies, and then both of us sort of fell out of love the same time, and we kind of went to lagers and West Coast IPAs. And we both boomerang back, me more so, I would say. Mike still likes his hazies, right? But like not as like I think
I don't buy them anymore.
I think I still buy them, but yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, you have a love-hate relationship for sure.
Well, they're delicious when they're made right, but I feel like I think actually it's a little bit of something that you kind of mentioned earlier, Chad. is like I go into a brewery now and it's like 13 taps and 12 of them are New England IPAs. I'm like, I'm not getting these fucking IPAs. I'll get that obviously poorly made saison. This place is probably making a great saison, probably. And
there's some breweries now. It's like all they make is hazies, like Other Half, Equilibrium, or at least like that's all they're known for.
The very first time I ever went to Other Half in Brooklyn, I was on a work trip and I was so excited to go. And I still liked my hazies then, but I was like I like stouts, you know, my lagers. And they literally I don't know how they had like 20 things on and they were all hazies. They had nothing that wasn't a hazy. I was like, how is this possible?
I know, it's like I bet you they're all probably like 99, like the base malt, at least the malt bill is probably the same, and they just change up the hops in each one.
Oh, I guarantee that some of them are also just bad batches of stuff, and they throw some fruit, like especially like when they're like, "Oh, we added fruit," and it's like, "What'd you do to that batch of beer?" Like, like, okay, Treehouse, that's a bad batch of Julius, and you toss some guava in it.
I feel like that's
favorite. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Chad. No, you go. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you have a favorite hop profile? Do you prefer like the tropical or citrus or the dank or the grassy?
I am very much I'm weird. My favorite thing, period, is really well made Citra Galaxy. I like that combination. I really, really like what is it? Is it Sean, what is the one for that Treehouse does that I love, that the one, the anniversary beer.
It's got Nelson in it.
Yeah, Nelson and Citra. Nelson Citra combination when done right. Because you have that nice, vaguely wine-like kind of character, but you also got that peach and citrus that you get from the Citra. And that combination is awesome. Awesome. There's a few cool hops that have come out in the last few years that have really hit me, but like something about that Nelson and Citra together that just works for me.
Yeah. For me it's like, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, like IPAs are kind of like mood based, where like, because like it's funny, like it doesn't even have to be hazy. It can be any, you know, IPA, like from Dogfish Head 60 to Treehouse or whatever. Like, I mean, I always love, because I grew up on like the piney East Coast IPAs, and like nobody makes those anymore. Like, I mean, the closest thing you can get is probably Dogfish 60, and like even that is like still is like, you know, it's we just reviewed it like a week ago, and like to me it was like very West Coast tasting, very,
it is,
you know, citrusy, and then like has like kind of pine essence or background, and it's like you can't even get like piney beers anymore, and if you do, they're all Christmas seasonals. The closest thing I can think of is like Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale. Like that's like a, you know, just it's anytime you have like a pine IPA, they just call it like a Christmas beer, but to like make you think of like actual pine trees. And actually, I had a beer called actually I think Duclaw makes it, Spruce Willis. It was an IPA that they had actual spruce tips in it.
That's hilarious.
Had like so few breweries use spruce tips or pine needles or whatever, and actually if they're done right, they can actually be really good, and like they're great. I mean, well, they're great Christmas beers, but they're also great year-round beers.
There's a brewery in Amesbury that makes a spruce tip Helles lager, Brewery Sylvaticus, and it's like really good. It's really well done.
I do like the dank IPAs, like Fiddlehead. You ever had that one? I'm sure you have.
I like regular Fiddlehead. Second Fiddle, not my thing, but regular Fiddlehead, yeah, for sure. Like there's definitely a talent for the danker beers. Yeah.
Those beers are like drinking a joint or something, you know. It's like so dank.
Sean, do you remember Longhammer IPA?
Oh, from Red Hook?
Yeah.
Yes.
To me, even to this day, when someone says, "Oh, I had an IPA," the first thing I think is that Longhammer, the tap thing. It's always what I think of. And for me, like that's sort of, to me, like that was one of the first IPAs I ever had, and to me, like that is like East Coast IPA to me. Like that's what I think of.
Wasn't that in New Hampshire?
Yeah, that's up in right? Yeah, it's up. I don't remember where it is.
They closed though, right?
I think so. I haven't been up there in a long time. I haven't seen that beer.
Did they
go
out of business? Didn't Red Hook go out of business completely? Or am I not?
They sold out. They've been bought and sold a few times.
Yeah.
So they have breweries on both. It's funny. I think they're both Portsmouth, like Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and Portsmouth.
Oh, they do sell breweries.
Oregon or Washington. It's funny. I actually had the head brewer for Red Hook at my house back when I lived in Albany.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, actually, I still have the interview we did on saved on my computer. Maybe I'll do it as a archive edition of the podcast someday.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, what's like your most like deep cut style that you love? I mean, I love it. Well, love's kind of a strong word, but I mean, I definitely appreciate all styles. But I like going to like the beer store and seeing something other than a hazy, a pastry stout, or a kettle sour. Like if somebody's making like a Lichtenhainer, or actually, it's funny, Mike, you mentioned Saison. I feel like hardly anybody makes Saison anymore. They were huge like 10 years ago. If somebody can make a Saison, especially an American brewery can do a Saison right. Like the only Saison I can find these days is like Tank 7 from Boulevard.
Oh, that's a good one. I haven't had that. I haven't seen that in a while, but that's a good one.
Yeah. And smoked beers. Love smoked beers.
I love smoked beers. Mike and I's palates usually line up unless it's a smoked beer. Other than like, but everything else for the most part, we're pretty in lockstep when it comes to our palates. But smoked beers, not so much from like me. I love smoked beers. I'd say my style, that's like I'd say grisettes. But grisettes, they're sort of like Saisons in a sense, but they can be Saison-y. But yeah, grisettes are probably my I don't even know what I would call it. Like I don't want to say guilty pleasure because people
underappreciated
or underappreciated. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
What's your dark horse style, Mike?
I don't really have a dark horse style. I don't think. I can tell you like one beer style I generally don't like. Almost always it's almost unless it's like a creek or something. I don't really like red ales that much. But the beer style that if I see it, I will buy it every fucking time is Kolsch. Kolsch is my favorite thing in the world. I've had
they have to be fresh.
Mostly bad. Yeah, well, I've had mostly bad ones to be fair. But like when they're good, they're the best thing ever. I love them. I love them. I love them. And I don't think a lot of people make them. They're not like hard to find. But like you're not gonna go to a brewery around here and find one on draft. That's never gonna happen, you know.
Yeah.
Like but except we have Treehouse, now that they're around. But even when you have them, like I don't think this is actually a Kolsch. I think this is just a shitty lager, you know. And
there's definitely a je ne sais quoi factor to Kolsch. Like they're interesting because like they're kind of like a Munich Helles or just any other like all malt lager, but then they have like this like kind of fruity character to it, almost like a slight kind of white wine character. It's funny, you actually, if you ever read the specs on Kolsch, it says like, I mean, technically in Germany they can only be made in the city of Cologne, and some of them have like a little bit of wheat in them. I think it's 5B, 5B. And it's actually some of the water has like a little bit of sulfite or sulfur in it or whatever. But like if you go to like the beer store, like do you guys have Total Wine up there?
No. We do, but not necessarily near us. I think the closest one to us might actually there's one in Westford and in Burlington, Mike. So still not right next to us.
I get like most of my beer either online through Tavor or at Total Wine, and like I mean all the shelf stuff just sits at Total Wine. Like you can get Fru Kolsch or Gaffel Kolsch or something like that, but it's probably been sitting there for like 6 months or longer. And then actually it's funny, right down the road from me, like within walking distance, is a liquor store that has a giant walk-in beer cooler, like almost like the size of my apartment. But it's like I call it the beer museum because it's all bottles from years ago. It's like you walk in here and it's like, here's what everybody was drinking 10 years ago, you know. Still at full
marked down. Oh, okay. No, that's like the store. Like I have a store that's literally like a stone's throw away from me that still has 2015 Bourbon County that they're trying to sell for $30. And I'm like, you're not gonna get
for 30
money for this. $30.
I'll give you 20.
Yeah. Exactly, because he's like, well, they made me buy a bunch of Goose Island, like that they made him buy a bunch of other Goose Islands, stuff like that. And that was the only year he ever got Bourbon County. And I think he's still kind of upset about it. And I'm just like, yeah, that's overpriced. And it's 2015, so it's infected or probably infected.
If I saw 2015 for more than $11, I wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Because in 2015, the beers were about like 10 or 11 bucks a bottle.
And that was the year that they're supposed to be infected too. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you ever try something from like, I don't know if you go to Beer Fest that much. We hardly ever have them down here.
They don't have them anymore, which stinks. Like we used to always have like the big Beer Advocate ones, like EBF up here.
Oh yeah,
all the ones, and then they just I think COVID happened, and then they stopped.
Yeah. They still do Tap New York. That was always my favorite one to go to. It's in Hunter Mountain in upstate New York. It was actually within driving distance of Albany. And I remember, probably shouldn't say this on camera, but I mean, I definitely drove home like probably 0.1 BAC.
That's no one's. What's the statute of limitations? You're fine.
0.08. Yeah, 0.08 is like DUI or DWI or whatever. You know, there's probably times I drove like 0.1.
I miss Beer Fest though. Like they were just so fun. Like and we do still have them sometimes, but they're never as good as those. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So we made a big day out of all of them. Like I would meet up at Sean's. We get to the train station. We'd get on the train together. Like head down, get something to eat, walk over to wherever we eat at that pizza place at the train station. Station. Then we get to like wherever because I mean like we were over by the waterfront for a lot of them. But if we went to the tap roundhouse or something or whatever that place is called, Cyclorama, or we would if we did the Belgian one or whatever, the European one over at the power lines or whatever the hell that was called. Like then it was just like, all right, let's see how we get home because maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't.
Maybe it's a train, maybe it's an Uber because we missed the train. Yeah, it was always. I just don't understand why Beer Fest stopped though. Like I get COVID, but like, why didn't they start up again? Like they
must not be profitable. They must not be profitable.
Yeah,
as profitable as they like.
Yeah,
so I wish we had Uber.
Money's what matters. So money's the biggest issue. That's it. Always.
Yeah.
You know.
I wish we had Uber 10 years ago because I never got pulled over or anything, but it's just so much more convenient to just pay $10.
Yeah.
Like where I live in Sanford, there's a downtown area. It's like there's a huge lake up there. It's a historic area. And like there's 3 like microbreweries all within walking distance of each other, and then lots of bars and Mexican restaurant and German restaurant. I love those German beer garden places. There's one here in Sanford that has like it's like so popular. Basically, you have to make a reservation like a week in advance or whatever. Like it's really hard to just walk up and get a table. Yeah, it's called Hollerbox. Yeah, it's really good. Like they'll have like the Papa band, and it's like it's kind of like we were saying on the Chimay Red review. It's like German, especially like those. Like I mean, you're talking about Kolsch before, but really any of the styles. Like you get like a fresh Dunkel. Or Hefeweizen, any of the wheat beers, even just beer. Like
all
beer, yeah.
Man, I love alt beer. I haven't seen an alt beer in like 10 years. You can't.
Yeah.
We don't get to. They still make Long Trail because I remember like Long Trail Ale was an alt beer.
Shit, in Vermont, is Long Trail still around?
I think it is.
Also, Red Hook is still around for the record. I looked it up, but they're in Washington out of all places, which is weird.
Yeah. Because they were owned by Budweiser. It was like them and Kona. It was called like Craft Beer Collective or something like that.
Yep.
And like that big craft, faux craft type of those types of breweries.
Yep. Oh, Long Trail's still around. They're still in Vermont. Yeah. Like next time we're in Burlington.
Have you guys ever been to Treehouse? Or not? Well, obviously Treehouse, but I was gonna say what's the other one? Hill Farmstead.
Yes. Did you go? No, you didn't go with me, right?
No, yeah, I would not drive up there. That's crazy.
Yeah. I went once, and because Mike and I have made plenty of Vermont trips in general to like the Alchemist and whatnot to get heady and all that, and Burlington in general. But Hill Farmstead is like an extra like hour and a half from there. I went once.
It's
It was
like
great.
on the Canadian border, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. So like usually, so every year I have a friend whose mom lives pretty much on the Canadian border in Vermont, right near Hill Farmstead. So he'll come down in the summer. So he'll go there first, then drive down here and stay with us for a few days. So he'll always just bring a shitload of Hill Farmstead. So I'm like, there's no need for me to drive that far. It is it's a great spot. It's a great location. It's really cool. But yeah, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. Have you been?
Oddly enough, no. Even though, like, you know, I was in Albany for a while and I was there like right when they started blowing up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I had friends that would go and like they would bring back like a case of bottles. So I just like mooch off theirs.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, like it's funny, like Hill Farmstead was like the treehouse before treehouse. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can answer this. I'd probably have to have somebody from the brewery on, but it's kind of like, you know, treehouse and Hill Farmstead, like they have like such cachet among the beer nerd community. And it's like when I've seen pictures on Instagram or wherever, it's always like, you know, people are waiting in line for like hours just to get a growler fill or something like that. And it's kind of like, why don't they, you know, expand? Like, why don't they like have another brewery like contract? Like, why can't I buy Treehouse if it's so good? Like, why can't I just buy it in every gas station, you know?
I think Treehouse is different. It's a different conversation for Treehouse and Hill Farm. So Treehouse, they're expanding, right? Like they had Charlton after, you know, Monson and Brimfield. And then they moved to what they do, Deerfield, Cape Cod, and then now Tewksbury, which is near me. And now
Connecticut.
Oh, Connecticut. Yeah, the Connecticut. And so this was like they call the one near me like the Greater Boston one because that's the closest one. Because the closest Treehouse to us is probably Charlton before this one. That was like an hour and change.
Yeah.
So are they just tap rooms or are they full on breweries?
Charlton is a full on brewery. I think Charlton's the only brewery, right?
I'm not sure.
Tewksbury
certainly is. Tewksbury is not.
Yeah, because Tewksbury is because they bought a country club. It's a 9-hole golf course too, so there's no brewing facilities. It's just this massive, gorgeous tap room. But anyways,
so beautiful.
They're just expanding in that sense, and they just have and like they're where they are in pockets of Massachusetts and now Connecticut. Now they're moving to upstate New York too, right? Like I think they realize they don't need to distribute. They don't need to contract brew, right? They're just pumping what they want to do, and they just popped up. They started doing a beer garden, and this is I think.
Boston. Yeah.
Sometimes they aggravate the shit out of me and they're so pretentious sometimes, but they're so smart from a business standpoint. They started doing like a beer garden in Boston, like Mike said, every like Thursday and Friday a couple years ago. And then now they were like, oh, we can now gonna do beer to go. And like the way they worded it, it sounded like it was just gonna be like a one-off thing or a couple of times. Now they have designated parking spots in the garage underneath the Prudential Center in Boston. And you just go in and go around a loop. You order online and you stop, you pick up and you just leave, or you can just park or you can go inside. So they're really just like, at this point, like it's not even a brewery. It's just like, if you want to get cans to go in the city proper, like that's why I don't think they have the need to ever.
And Prudential is not that far from Storrow. So you get right back on Storrow Drive, get back on 93 and get the fuck out of there.
It's right off the highway.
Not bad.
They're so smart. They're so smart, and it aggravates me so much that I didn't think of it first.
You know who was like that before? NEBCO, New England Beer Company or Brewing Company. Like they did Imperial Stout Trooper and Gandhi Bot and
Fuzzy Baby Ducks. Yeah.
So I remember like I actually went to like their brewery and like a long time ago I actually applied for a job at Two Roads. And they're actually not too far from there. And so I just stopped at NEBCO on the way home. And there's like a line going out the door. And it wasn't like you could just walk in and just buy singles to go. And are they still around? Because I mean we don't get them in Florida.
They are. But we don't see them as much up here. Occasionally we'll get a drop, but our friend Steven that's down in Connecticut's is right near there. I feel like beer lines in general have stopped. Like Treehouse, to get Treehouse now, like I remember like back in the day, Mike and I used to wait in lines for hours in their Monson location. And now it's like I can order online and drive up the street, park my car, and they put it in my trunk and I drive home. And it's like, or you can walk inside and get a case and it comes up on this cool little elevator thing. Yeah. Like Hill Farmstead's probably a little bit different because they're not expanding, right? They're staying where they are. Like they don't. I feel like Sean Hill is probably a little more of a control freak and probably doesn't want to contract brew. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Same thing with the Alchemist, but the Alchemist does occasionally distribute. Like especially during COVID, we got like crazy drops from
Really?
we would get Heady and Focal relatively regularly and relatively cheap. So it's like $13 at the brewery for a 4-pack, and they were like 15 to $16 down here. So yeah, I think like those Vermont breweries, like you have to include the Alchemist, you have to include Hill Farmstead in those breweries that kind of stay where they are. They self-distribute. And they just kind of do what they do. And I just don't know if maybe they're making enough money where they don't feel the need that they have to expand. But then you have folks like Lawson's, right? Like Lawson's is only contract brewing Sip of Sunshine out of 2 Roads, and that's like their biggest hit, and that's just that's everywhere now, right? So but then they also have their brewery in Stowe, and they're still doing everything they're doing, and they're still sending stuff down to different New England states, and they just started distributing in North Carolina a handful of months ago. So I think it just depends on the appetite and, I guess, how comfortable they are from a brewing perspective, and like, are they comfortable enough to make enough money to just do what they love, and that's what it is, and not have to kind of sacrifice by expanding.
But you know, Von Trapp didn't sacrifice by expanding. Their shit is everywhere where we are.
But they only make like 6 beers.
Yeah, but those beers are all awesome. All the beers are great.
Yeah,
German style lagers, right? We can actually get Von Trapp here.
It's awesome. Because what's her core? There's the Helles, the Pils Vienna Lager, and the Dark Lager.
Yeah,
that's the core. That's the core 4.
Right, but they do other things, and
like, they do. But
they do the Kolsch for like a quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Don't they do like a Dunkel?
No, it is the Dunkel. That's what I meant. The Dunkel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And they do those like collabs and stuff like that. Which
and they do the Bohemian Pilsner. They do that like through most of the year. I mean, like they do like 6 beers that are available year round, and then it's like little things, but they do not miss.
No, constantly. Yeah,
it's always perfect every single time.
Who's like the tastemaker for you guys? Like, is there like somebody you watch like a BeerTube channel or Instagram, or just, I don't know if you're in like the bowels of the Beer Advocate forums or something, where like somebody that you respect or admire is like this is the next style, or like this is the beer I gotta have. Because like for me, like back in the early days of this show, like I was probably Chris at Beer Geek Nation, like whatever he was talking about. Like this is like right when Treehouse came out, right when Hill Farmstead blew up, like Nebco, Lawson's Finest. It's funny. It's like I don't know what it is about the whole Northeast, but it's like I think like all the best breweries are like up in the Northeast area. You don't really hear too much. Like Cigar City used to be like that. And then they sold out, and it's like, as soon as like you become big and successful, like you lose all your cachet, you know. Like I don't know if Cigar City even does like Hunapoo's or Marshall Zukoff anymore. It's like now, I mean, you can go to any gas station in Florida and get High Life.
Oh, you can do that here too. Yeah.
So
High Life's
like,
still good. High Life's fresh though. High Life is still a really good beer.
Yeah. So who is like the person or people or group that's like got their finger on the pulse of the beer scene, that's like who you follow, and it's like, if they like it, then I gotta get it?
Honestly, like, I don't know if this is the answer you're looking for, but like, nowadays it's no one. It used to be, honestly, like it used to be folks, like it used to be Greg, like when I first started watching them. Matt was a big one. But I guess, how do I put this without, now I'm just sort of, again, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how BeerTube now is more just like hanging out, and
you
know what I mean? So like
everybody's just doing live streams like this.
Yeah. And it's just like, if
just
like
BSing around.
Yeah, and if like Keith from 93 Lumber finds something that he knows that I like, or vice versa, like we'll send it to each other and stuff like that. Like, but otherwise, like I'm not watching, like, and this was a problem. Like we were back in the early days, like I was constantly trading, big time trading. It was like all the time. And like it got to the point where I think I was annoying the shit out of, I know for a fact I was annoying the shit out of Mike. Like he would come over on a Friday night and I would have a whiteboard. On the whiteboard, I would have all the beers we have to review over the next few weeks with fucking dates. And it was to the point of, and I knew it was a problem, and it was annoying, but I was like, nope, these people sent us these beers, we have to do them, or these are the new hype. This is Conky Dong from Who Farted, right, or whatever. Right?
Dude, that beer is so good. It rocks. It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
but I think both of us, I don't want to speak for you, but so feel free to chime up, Mike, but I feel like we both sort of got out of we need someone else to tell us what we should drink, or because at this point I know what I like. And like, I know it was bad, like, because Trillium is right near us too. Like, I would be going to Trillium almost every week, if not every other week. Yeah. I'd be like, all right, I have a meeting here, and I have a meeting in an hour and a half from there. So I have this hour and a half gap where I can order and run to Trillium and pick up like the new, like this version of the Streets or whatever the newest IPA was, all the time. And now it's just it's freeing to not have to chase that, because in my mind, back in the day when I was like, I need to get views, we need to get subscribers, I always had to have I thought was that we need to have the next hyped hazy beer, mostly hazies, stouts as well and stuff, right? But hazies were the big thing, so I would always be chasing the next big thing. I'd be trading for it, Mortalis, right? Like all that stuff. And then it got to the point where I was like, this is just getting ridiculous. And now I only trade with my friends. Like, and it's not even trading. It's not trading. We're not
sending. Not trading. It's sending.
No, I'm never saying I'll send you this for this. It's like, here's some of the beers that I think are really cool that you're gonna like, Keith or Kyle, and then they send whatever they think is really cool, and then it's just So I don't think that's the answer you wanted. That was my long way of saying. There's no real finger on the pulse anymore. It's just drink what I drink, and then if drink what I like, and then if Mike recommends me a beer, or if Kyle says, or somebody says something, that's fine. But like, I'm not like watching the channels to find that next big thing.
What I will do is I'll tell Sean, hey Sean, you need to try this. I'm not giving you one because I'm drinking all four. Sorry.
Where do you get most of your beer from? Because like I said, here there isn't like a whole big selection around here. Like, I mean, there's a few Total Wine stores, and like the like seasonal stuff is like fairly fresh, but like the year-round stuff is usually old. And there's like a handful of like bodegas or like bottle shops, or whatever you want to call them, or like there's a few around in the Orlando area where it's kind of like a bottle shop / it's basically a bar with like, they'll have coolers like this, and you can drink it there, and they charge you an uncorking fee, or you can buy the bottle to go. But like, it's always like if there's some other half or Equilibrium or something like that, it'd be like $8-9 a can. Be like, probably like $25-30 for a 4-pack. Like, I almost never buy beer in more than a single at a time, except maybe like at Aldi. Yeah, it's like, where do you guys get your beer from? So I order a lot, or well, not a lot, but around the holidays, I've been using Tavor or whatever it's called, the app.
Yeah,
and it's like I spend like through the nose on beer through that app, because it's like the cheapest you can get is like probably about $7 per bottle or can, and there's some that are like go up to like in the 20s or 30s depending on like how strong they are or how big they are, you know. So yeah, is there like a beer store you go to, or you just go to like the big bottle shops, or how does that work?
For me, if I'm gonna go to Treehouse, which it's not that far from me, it's like 30 minutes. The one near Sean anyway. I'll order probably like a couple cases at a time, and then I just bring it home and I stock up my fridge, and I'll probably I have like a beer fridge. It's a good size, but it's not like a full size fridge. And I'll probably do about half of it at a time, and as I drink, I'll restock it with the other stuff I have next to it. If I go to Schilling, which is my favorite brewery, probably Schilling is just maybe an hour and a half north of me. Same thing. I'll get 2 or 3 cases. But throughout, in between, like I have a place down the street from me that is very creatively named The Beer Store. And they're like, there's, I think it might have been at one point like a CBC, because it kind of looks like one. We had CBC, craft beer sellers. They were sort of a chain kind of thing around here. But they have a good mix of stuff. They have a whole bunch of stuff that's local, and it's all like, they'll have a New Hampshire brewery section, a Massachusetts brewery section, like Connecticut brewery, like the New England stuff. It's all labeled nice, and then around the corner it's all like Europe and all sorts of stuff. It's a nice little store. It's a little more than I want to pay normally, but that's where I got the Chimay. You know, like if I want something, they probably have it. Like if it's obtainable.
Mm-hmm.
So I do try breweries, or Sean goes to Sylvaticus, the place you talked about. Like, I'll get some of that maybe. But I like getting stuff in breweries. You know, it's fun. You know, and I mix it up. I got a whole bunch of stuff. You know, good stuff.
What about you, Sean? Where do you get most of your beer?
It's very similar to Mike. Given Treehouse is right up the street, that's easy for me. But there's actually a liquor store right next to Treehouse that I've been going to since before Treehouse moved in. That's actually where I found the Chimay, and they always have a great selection of everything. The downside is they don't do single cans. There is a place a couple towns over that used to be a craft beer seller, just like Mike's store, and they went independent, and they do single cans. So if I know I want something, but I don't want to invest, what'd you say?
They do.
Yeah, they do. And if I don't want to invest in like a full 4-pack, I'll like go there and just make a couple mixes. And there are a handful of stores like closer to me that if I need something quick, I can go to. But like it's really been a problem since Treehouse opened. It's hard to find like a hazy that is up to snuff with Treehouse, which stinks. Other half cans that have been coming out lately have been fantastic. Like I came back from New York and I got a bunch of other half stuff, and I've seen some stuff around here too, and it's still relatively fresh. The prices aren't the best, but yeah, I would say between that store and Treehouse are probably my two biggest things. And like for regular beer, if I'm buying, is by Jack's. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and the one in Westford, they get like Hot Butcher all the time now. So like, so if you look at Hot Butcher, I mean, like, I think it's old because
around here.
I don't think it sells as well as it. Like since they started getting consistently, I don't think it sells as well. But when you go in and looking, like you can find them that are newer ones. Just you got to go there frequently.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that like one of the stores. I don't know if you guys watch Darwin at all, because he goes there too. And it's this like bodega that's kind of like in a residential neighborhood, and it's just like it's like a corner store, like a convenience store. But so like they sell like anything you get at like at a convenience store, and then but they also have like a huge selection of beer, and they have like all like the must have, like it's like crazy stuff that like not even Total, or like at least Total Wine doesn't carry, because they get like anything you could possibly think of from like Other Half or Equilibrium, Tripping Animals. Bottle Logic, those but like they're like expensive as shit, you know. Do you guys get Bottle Logic out there? Because they're actually a West Coast brewery. It feels like everything they do is like everything they do is like basically a ripoff of Bourbon County. They're all like, you know, 12-13% pastry stouts, you know, bourbon barrel aged. They're like $30 a bottle.
I haven't seen them in recently, but yeah, they were usually like very rare. The closest, you know, Trillium did a collab, and I remember that went quick, and I have a bottle and it was like $30. It's like, it's at this point, like too, and it gets to the point, like that was a problem too, like chasing the next big pastry stout or bottle. Like that's why Mike's cellar too, like there's just so much stuff in there, like that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy all this beer and I'm gonna age it, and then now I'm like, well, now it's just sitting there.
That's been there for 10 years. Some of those are a decade old, Sean.
I know.
Brutal.
But yeah, Bottle Logic was it. Yeah, I know them. They're, but they are expensive.
I haven't had a beer cellar collection since I moved to Florida, and I don't know if you saw the short that I posted yesterday. It was Schmaltz's 16th anniversary, and it was 16% ABV. And like at the end, I said this bottle's been sitting in the basement for 2 years. I don't remember where I got this, and it's been sitting in the fridge for like 9 months. It's like, this is my beer fridge now, and like nothing really ages in here. Like some of this stuff on the top row, like these Imperial Stouts, I'm just saving to do for a Tuesday night beer school. Because like that'll keep for a while. Like I want to do, I don't know if you guys watch End of the Day beer reviews. He like pretty much, he mostly reviews dark beer, but he does every once in a while does an IPA or something like that. And I'm trying to coordinate with him to do Tuesday night beer school on the Imperial Stout style and the American Porter style. I was going to ask before, which I should have, like Sean, you mentioned like you get highlight in gas stations there now. And I wrote a blog about this a long time ago, and I said, like, you know, does beer kind of lose its cachet when you can get it in the gas station? Because for like 10, 15 years ago, Highlight was like a white whale beer. I remember actually trading with somebody in Florida to get it. And like now, like you said, like you can just get any gas station or supermarket around here, and it probably tastes the same as it did back then, if not even better, because they probably have better quality control now. And I don't know, do you ever kind of like miss those days where it's kind of like, man, this used to be a whale, and like now any schmuck can get it?
I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I like that I can get the beer I want.
If you go to Vermont, Chad, I don't know if you or your viewers know this, you can get Heady Topper in gas stations. Like
really? Because I remember that was a chaser too,
and it's still consistent.
Sean and I, the first time, not the first time I had it, but I remember going up with you, like me, you, and Nick, and we didn't literally chase the truck, but like we went from the store as it opened to get a case, get in line to another place, get a case, get in line to another place and get a case.
And then you go to a gas station, you could just grab a 4-pack from a gas station. And you still can. It's insane. They'd be able to, and you can't get, it's not like Massachusetts or New Hampshire, but it's like if you're in Vermont, Heady Topper it's not hard to get at all anymore. But and it's still delicious.
Distributed in Vermont?
No, occasionally we'll get it down here. You'll see drops more and like not as often as when it was in COVID, but yeah, you'll still occasionally see.
I'm hoping to find some. Like, so I'm actually flying up to Albany to see my parents next week.
Oh,
so my girlfriend and I are going to be there for from Thursday to Sunday, and I mean we're not going up there just to drink beer. Actually, we're going because like she's from Florida, so she's never really seen like real nature, like the mountains and stuff like that. You know, we probably should have went in October when the leaves are still changing, and they're probably mostly gone by the time we get there. But like we're gonna go see the gorges in Ithaca and the Adirondack Mountains and stuff like that. I'm not going camping, but I would love to if I can just run into like a beer store or something like that. If I can find some Heady Topper. Or,
I don't know if they. I would say ask Kyle if he knows any spots around there.
Or Fidens. Fidens is like that's like they're like the treehouse of New York, and it's funny they opened like right after I left.
Yeah, I know that an addendum to what I said earlier. When I say I don't ask for specific beers, I lied. There has been times where I've definitely said to Kyle, "Hey man, if you can get these Fidens beers, I would really love you for it." So yeah, there are times where I will ask for Fidens is a different story. But yeah,
it's our Airbnb is probably I was gonna say I don't think it's within walking distance of Kyle's house, but it's definitely a short drive. So hopefully we'll be able to meet up while we're up there.
That'd be awesome.
Is there any beers left on your like white whale list? Like something you never like you ever had like ep12 or Dark Lord or something that rare beer that you never had but you definitely want to try?
I have ep12. I brought back a shitload when I came back from Belgium. I have some still down here, but I don't. It's not really a white whale, but I want to try it for specific reasons, and it kind of it's probably going to be. Dark Lord is one of them, and Assassin, but for purely silly reasons. Like I don't really care if it's good or not. I just want to know why people were charging thousands of dollars aftermarket. Why? How can you charge thousands of dollars for a bottle of beer? Like Assassin was going for $5,000 at one point for certain variants and stuff.
Who makes that?
The same people that make Dark Lord, right?
Oh, Three Floyds.
Is it? Am I just missing?
I never heard of it. So, I mean, I know Dark Lord, but
maybe it's not the same brewery. Hold on. Assassin. Oh, no. Is it Toppling Goliath?
Oh, Toppling Goliath.
The Toppling Goliath is even Pseudo Sue used to get crazy. Pseudo Sue used to get crazy money on the aftermarket for a while. That's ridiculous. Their beer. It's okay. I don't know.
Oh, I've had Dark Lord.
Fun fact about Toppling Goliath is like, originally, their beers were made here in Florida, in Lakeland at Brew Hub. It's like this big, huge brewery. They only do contract stuff, and they actually made a lot of Cigar City beers there. It was in like about a mile or two of my office when I used to work for Publix in Lakeland, Florida. And they finally opened their own brewery in Iowa, Decorah, Iowa, I think it is. Yeah, Pseudo Sue. What's it called? King Sue. That one was really good.
King Sue. I remember getting bottles of Pseudo Sue and King Sue and being like really and they were great. They were fantastic. And then I remember they started canning. We had the cans and we're like, this is the complete because I think because they were contract brewing. Yeah, there was like the completely different beer. But yeah, I would say mainly those two beers. I think because I can't think of anything like I don't know at this point. Like I've had my fair share of 3 Fontaine, Cantillon, like everything I really want is I just want to see why these beers go for thousands of dollars. That's all I want to know. Mike, what about you?
I don't have any whales. For me, no, I don't mean that in any way to be condescending or be like shitty or avoid the question. For me, beer is what I drink. You know what I mean? Like I know like we joke at least internally like Kyle with no hype beer reviews and like, but like I've over the years stopped having any amount of hype. I just I'll have it. I'll try it. Like there's so many things that like everyone's this is the greatest of all time, and have them like that's fine. I don't know. I'd rather have a fucking Newcastle, But like there's a lot of things that like like I'll go to a place and I'll have this nondescript Helles that'll just blow my fucking hair back, and other times like like that's weird. I've never seen a Baltic Porter here before, and then it's like wow, this is amazing. But it's in those moments that I love beer more, I think, is when you find something by accident that just like, holy shit. Because I feel like nothing ever lives up to what anyone ever tells you, It's the little finds that do it for me.
Yeah. I probably should have started the show with this because like we were talking about like, you call the show Nerdsense and like I can see your walls behind you. Like Sean's got the Spider-Man and Avengers, and it looks like you have like a bunch of toys on the wall. So that's right.
Yeah. There's Power Rangers,
what kind of
Batman.
stuff? What kind of stuff do you guys collect? And like, what are you into? Like, as far as like that genre?
Pretty much like as you can see, it's just like
Are you more of a Marvel guy?
No, Batman for me. It's funny. It's funny that this view doesn't have any Batman in it, but there's a lot of there's some Batman over there and stuff that you can't see on this side. Usually when Mike and I do reviews together, the whole thing's blown out, but it's just me. I just usually do this. But yeah, there's some Batman there. It's really just childhood, right? At the end of the day, like just being able to be an adult and afford things maybe you couldn't have afforded when you were a kid. So you just buy all this stuff. Some of the stuff like this Power Ranger is from when I was a kid. Like I got this when they first came out. Like, and it's just a bunch of nerdy stuff. And then there goes the motion sensor. Yeah, there goes the motion sensor. And yeah, Mike and I both, as you can see behind Mike, he's just action figures. And that I would say my favorite thing as of recent though, is definitely goes to DC. Is you see the Batman cowl behind Mike? Both of us just recently got the same thing on the same day, and that is my new favorite thing. So yeah, it's really just about comics, Star Wars, Ghostbusters, Spider-Man, and it really it's everything that's sort of
I used to be big into comics and stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen some of my older videos. Let me share my screen here.
Yeah, let me see.
I don't know if you can see, like these are. I had the they're like almost like
the long boxes.
Cabinets. Yeah, they're made of cardboard.
Yeah.
This is only like half of it though. The rest and like there's another one. Like I had like a whole bookshelf of let's see if I go by most popular. I used to collect Nintendo and NES video games, like the actual physical ones.
Oh, that's so cool.
Now I just have them all on actually here, you might be able to see a little bit more. Yeah, you can see on here. And I had like, probably 2 bookshelves of like graphic novels. Trying to find one. Here it is. Yeah, you can see like this bookshelf. And it's like when I moved to Florida, I sold all my physical media. And I do have a lot of these books on my tablet now.
And I'm sort of the same.
I hardly ever read them though.
I like physical stuff too, but like they take up space, right? That's why you move with them, right? So like it is nice to have them on your iPad or whatever and just kind of pull them up in that way. But there is something to be said about like physical. Like I still have definitely a lot of graphic novels, but I never fully got into standalone comics because it was always harder to kind of just remember to go get them. Even digital now, like I'll start reading a series and I get like 5 issues in it and then I forget and then I'm like, what happened? It's been 2 years and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to keep reading those. I'll just wait for the graphic novel until they combine them.
Yeah, I do like for like all the beer stuff having like actual physical. Like I couldn't read a book like this on a tablet. I think a tablet is actually perfect for comics because you can do an entire panel just take up the entire
and you can
screen.
zoom in easier,
Yeah.
right? And yeah.
Just tap it and like it does like this animation to the next panel.
The DC Universe app works real well. Comixology works real well. It's like nice, easy way to read them. And I definitely spend more money on them than I should because I don't use them as much as I should. You know, but like I buy them. I don't know. I feel like sometimes even if I like, oh, I'll read it eventually, but I want to support a particular writer or either I like. I'm like, oh, well, I'll buy that. Fuck it.
What's like your most like rarest or most expensive thing in your collection?
Fucking nothing.
Either of you guys.
That's a good question.
I used to have a copy of Batman number 12. Or maybe it was 21. It was like some golden age Batman. It was like the second ever appearance of the Penguin. Like it was like in shitty condition. I got it for like, I don't know, like $40 from like a garage sale. And then I had it CGC graded. And it was like, it was a pretty low grade, like 4.0 or something like that. But then I was able to flip it for like $200-300.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, totally worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any comics, but I have like some older action figures and toys that probably could be worth something, but like I don't think I'd ever sell necessarily.
Yeah,
I saw Power Morphers, like Power Rangers Power Morphers that I have for like I don't know, like fucking $1,800 before to a couple grand.
You serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't give a shit to sell them though. Like I wouldn't be able to get them. You know.
How are you gonna morph?
100%. That's how I get away from when I'm mad at my wife.
Did you ever watch the Walking Dead TV show?
I did.
I watched the first season. I thought it was one of the best things I'd ever seen. I saw part of the second season and I completely fucking left.
I know my girlfriend's into nerdy stuff like that, and she never saw Walking Dead. And we started dating about 1.5 years ago, so we started watching it. And then we got to the season with Negan. She just like tapped out. She's like, "This is so boring now. They just keep repeating the same stuff over and over." And it was the same thing in the comics. Like I think like in the comics, I felt the same way because like you're not used to seeing Rick's team like lose. And they dragged it out for 2 seasons. That could have been a 1-season story arc. And then I've never saw past the part where like they beat Negan's group. And I did read the entire comic series though, which was pretty good. I don't know. I think that story just works so much better in comics than as a TV show.
That's how it works.
So you have to extend it more, which I think is the thing. I read up through the Governor. I've watched all the episodes, and you know it definitely had its ebbs and flows, and the spinoffs. But yeah, there's only so much you can do with. Like if you're gonna do like I don't understand why more shows don't do 13 episodes or 6 episodes or 8 episodes. 22 episodes. You have to have filler, and you're gonna have junk in the middle.
Well, it works for sitcoms where you don't have to have a serialized story.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's different. But like drama, like 22 episodes, you're just asking for trouble, it feels like.
Yeah. I did like the first few seasons of Arrow though.
Those first
were
few
outstanding.
Yeah.
They were. Yeah.
Or the Marvel, like the Daredevil and the ones that were on Netflix.
Oh yeah, those were those are great. Those are all fantastic.
Although Defenders was kind of lame, but
except for Iron Fist, all of the first seasons of those shows were all amazing. Like Jessica Jones' first season, amazing. Daredevil first season, but it was one of the best seasons of television. Period. It's so good.
Yeah.
They just Luke Cage is good too. Like they only did like 2 or 3 seasons of each one, and they just kind of disappeared.
Well, they were getting Daredevil back at least.
Did they?
Well, if you look at
oh no, it's coming back in March.
It'll be on Disney though. Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It won't be Netflix.
Well, it's probably going to be PG then.
Oh no, they said they're keeping it.
Oh, they're keeping
super
it
gritty and
adulty.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going pretty long, so I guess we can probably wrap up here.
Okay.
Yeah. I always end the show on this question: what is the plural of Guinness? Is it Guinnesses or Guinness-I, or just Guinness?
I pluralized the noun cans of Guinness, bottles of Guinness.
I had 6 pints of Guinness.
Yeah.
I had six or if I didn't say, I'd be like, yeah, I had 6 Guinness last night. I wouldn't say I had 6 Guinnesses, right? I had 6 Guinness. Yeah, it sounds weird.
Well,
no, yeah, I had
Guinnesses.
6.
That's pretty
I had
intense.
I had 6 Guinnesses. Yeah. But maybe if I was saying baby Guinness, if I had 6 baby Guinness shots, that maybe I think I would say baby Guinness shots at that point.
Speaking of Guinness, you ever tried the Guinness Gauntlet Challenge? You have to drink
No. Tell me more.
I think it's 4 pints in less than 2 minutes.
Oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
No.
Not a chance.
Or maybe it was
I can
2. No,
I can chug down a
4.
Guinness pretty quickly because it's not as carbonated. It's easier to go down, but 4, I don't know about that.
There's also, I don't know if you saw on my channel, my girlfriend and I, we did a review of the Gonster. That's where you blend Guinness with the Monster Nitro, the super dry, because like it tastes like orange juice. It's green. I saw it on Instagram like as a joke, like as a meme. And I was like, well, let's do a video of this to see how it tastes. And it actually was pretty good because people have been using Guinness and orange juice as a hood drink for years. And then that the Monster super dry, it tastes just like orange juice. And I know some other people have done like Guinness and champagne. So yeah, I don't know if you guys ever tried doing beer blends on your show, but
we have.
Yeah.
Mike hates it when I use the word cuvee. He just rolled his eyes.
All right.
Beer blends. You know what else is fun though? But before we do that, beer blends. But also, have you ever done a French press?
No.
We French pressed crushed Oreos. Remember we did the crushed Oreos with Bourbon County?
Yep.
You got to do you get French press, put some beer in it, and whatever you want to do.
New Holland stole your idea because they made a cookies and cream dragon's milk. Did you see that?
Yeah, we'll have our lawyers contact them. Dragon's milk, though, that's a good one. But yeah, sorry, I don't want to keep going. Yeah, go ahead. You do your outro.
It was okay. I mean, it's like what they just basically see what other people are doing and just copy that. Like I feel like they must age dragon's milk and bourbon barrels for like 5 minutes because it has like almost no bourbon character or barrel.
If it's like, or they're just having staves.
Yeah. All right, you guys have been great. So I'll put links to all your stuff in the description. So I hope all the viewers and listeners will check that out. You're so close to 1,000 subs. So hopefully this will send a few people your way.
I hope so. We'll have to have you over as a guest soon too. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to collab, although I can't get any Treehouse or Hill Farmstead down here. So
we'll make it work.
We can get like pretty much anything other half or Equilibrium though.
Cool.
All right. Well, hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you guys online.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Cheers.
All right. I'll see you.